WoW Killer is a production of amove.tv. Check out amove TV for many more podcasts, multiple about Blizzard games. And for more of Taliesin's WoW coverage, check out Taliesin and Evitel on YouTube and twitch.tv. Greetings and welcome back, everyone. We are back to Kill WoW, one podcast at a time. This is WoW Killer. I'm Garrett Weinzerl, joined as always by Taliesin.
Thank you.
Are you doing on this extremely strange morning?
I think I'm doing about as well as anyone can. So I'm going to count that as a win. I think everyone will agree that what the world needs now is two white guys talking about video games and putting that to right, putting another nail in the WoW coffin, and I'm here to do it with you. We're going to do it.
Taliesin and Garrett are going to do it.
I'm not surprised that this very professional intro has come after that very professional pre-show.
Listen, listeners at home, we don't promote the live stream enough. You should come join us Wednesday mornings around 8 a.m. Eastern. We never start on time because
we start at 8:30. We get together on Discord at about 8, and then by the time Garrett's put his hat on and I've made my coffee and we're ready to go, then it's usually about 8:30. That's what it is right now. So
exactly, yeah, really, it's about the time we're done talking about Doctor Who or whatever random thought has entered our mind. We've had 3 particularly in-depth Batman discussions as part of our pre-shows in past. I don't even know why. I do really like Batman, but why it keeps coming up when talking to you is beyond me. There are things
it's very strange. This show is not called Batman Killer.
No,
George
it's not.
Clooney already did that. We don't need that show.
Well, okay, all right. There was a Val Kilmer in there with nipples as well. Let's keep it. let's keep it fair and Batman balanced, shall we?
As you know, I think the Val Kilmer Batman movie is one of the best Batman movies.
I mean, it's one of the best Jim Carrey movies. But whatever the case is, the pre-shows are really fun, folks. So you should check it out. Come join us live, twitch.tv/amovetv, and hang out with us Wednesday mornings, because they get pretty wacky. They're fun. Hell, sometimes I've even added them to the end of the show. But today we are here. We are returning to talk about World of Warcraft. As usual, we have a single topic, which we always use extremely loosely because that single topic tends to lead to so many topics being discussed on this show. But today,
that's the wonder of topics.
It is.
Opening up avenues into previously unimagined areas of thought. I think that makes us WoW philosophers. We don't report the news. We don't know what the news is, but we can talk about the philosophy of WoW by taking on its big problems, and then we kill it. Garrett.
I mean, do we even need to quantify it with WoW? Can't we just call ourselves philosophers?
Yes, we can.
Can't we inflate our egos even further?
It's nice being a philosopher. It's good. I feel like Jean-Paul Sartre.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, good.
It's great. But today's topic, everybody, is not about cultured references that Taliesin makes from across the pond while the McDonald's eating American scratches his head. Today, we're talking about our list of shame. We could also probably call this achievements of shame. Things we wish we had done in World of Warcraft. Things that we still have not accomplished. I will also allow, Taliesin, I will also allow things that you did eventually accomplish, but for a very long time you were shameful of not having done.
I've suddenly remembered that I meant to have a little conversation with you before this show started. Can we also include things that we did do in WoW, but we're just absolutely ashamed of? I feel like that should be on a list of shame.
I mean, if listen, anything WoW related that you are ashamed of, including the treatment of Sylvanas as a character, is up for the course.
Why would I be ashamed of that? Who do you think I am?
No, I'm ashamed on behalf of the WoW team.
Do you think you've been on like this show with Steve Danusa for the last like 13 episodes or whatever? Is that what you think? Do you think I'm Steve Danusa? Is that what this is? This explains a lot. This is like this now. A lot of what you've said to me is making sense. Like, good morning, Steve. How's your day been going? Like, just little things like that, all suddenly starting to make sense. Now I know that you think I'm Steve Danusa. Very interesting. Philosophical.
Well, Steve, let's get the list started. I'll kick it off with one that really isn't relevant anymore, and I guess I could probably remove it from my list of shame. Do you know one thing that I never got in World of Warcraft that I feel a bit shameful that I never...
Is it that you never got your classic character up to 60?
That's actually on the list, so thanks for ruining that.
Is it? Oh, sorry. Okay. I thought you would have started with that one because it's like incredibly embarrassing. From Garrett, I love classics so much.
First
Garrett,
of all,
like
okay,
jam. I've got a classic tattoo on my bum because I love it so much. And then, have you got your character up to 60 yet, Garrett?
I really don't understand why I'm going to assume that everyone thinks I am like horny for classic, solely because I am on a podcast with Patrick Beja, where my only option is to try and counterbalance his complete and utter open disdain for the existence of classic.
It's true, actually. Patrick Beja also has a tattoo on his bum. I've seen it, and it just says Garrett is wrong.
Yeah.
And what I really love about that tattoo is that he incorporates the O of the word wrong, like into his physique. Where the tattoo is placed on his body.
It's like our logo. It's the red circle and slash. That's the O on wrong, and inside the red circle.
Was the O. That's what I was saying.
His bung.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you try and cut people off.
I once knew a girl who, when you start seeing someone for the first time, it turns out they've got a tattoo of like an ex's name on their actual body, and this girl had the word Joe, as in Joe, because her ex-husband's name was Joe, and like on the base of her neck, in what some cruel people would call the tramp stamp position, on the base of her back, or the base of her spine.
The neck is definitely not the tramp stamp position.
On the base of her spine, and obviously I saw this one day. And she's like, yeah, it's the tattoo of my ex-husband's name. I was like, you missed a real opportunity there, not to have the J at the top and then like the E, underneath, and then you got the O already, haven't you? So
no, that was the end of that relationship, wasn't it?
Yeah, that goes on my relationships of shame list. Like how to end a relationship incredibly quickly.
But I mean, since you brought it, sure, we'll start with what you brought up, which is, and by the way, you left 50% of this shame out, which is I never hit 60 in vanilla or classic.
I was giving you somewhere to go with it.
Or classic, like neither. I did play vanilla World of Warcraft. I made it to the high 50s, but didn't finish it. And the same is current. I'm just recreating my vanilla experience to a 100% T. Like, it is a perfect recreation. If this was a classic car build, it is numbers matching, baby. Yep.
Well, that's good. That's nice. I mean, as long as you had fun, Garrett. You can't judge yourself by other people's standards just because, other people who actually do like WoW Classic have managed to get their characters to 60.
Okay. All right.
Other people who aren't just all talk have done it properly.
Really, to be serious, it really came down to I just ran out of availability to continue doing the Classic and Coffee stream in the mornings, which stifled any chance of me hitting 60. It may come back. But...
Were you doing it? We have had this discussion before, so forgive me if you are currently binging all of WoW Killer and you heard us talk about this a couple of hours ago. But were you leveling like mostly solo, or were you doing it in groups?
Pretty much alone by myself. Yeah. Yeah. Katie was real stoked to get back in, and so I even had a second character I was leveling with her, and then she was just like, I'm kind of bored. And I was like, all right. And that also took what little wind was left in the sails after I couldn't stream in the morning. Yeah. So you know how it goes. You just eventually things come up. You may realize you've been there before.
Will you right this wrong, Garrett? Will you be like Sam Beckett? Will you step into the quantum leap accelerator and will you put right what once went wrong? And will you level your character to 60 before Burning Crusade Classic comes out?
I bet you that's when it. I was gonna do a great joke. I was gonna be like, I am here to take a stand and say maybe. That was gonna be my reaction. But you invoked Burning Crusade Classic, which when that does get announced, when, not if. I'm totally going to rush and get to 60 because I'm trusting that they're going to do it the right way, and then I will be able to copy paste level 60 characters over, so I don't need to level up again. Even though now Blood Elf, I'm going to go through the whole Blood Elf thing all over again, Taliesin. My God, I'm starting to spiral into a WoW fandom here because I have to contend with the fact that I get to live through, oh my God, there's elves on the Horde again, and they've got edgelord paladins that are torturing Naru for their power, and how can I not possibly want to start over at 1 as a Blood Elf paladin? How can I say no to that? Yeah. I'm gonna have to if they do it the only way they should do it, which is allowing us to copy and paste over max level tunes.
Absolutely. Well, don't you want to be there for the Gates of Anchorage? Like when that hits Classic, because that's like the big milestone for me. That's the only thing I want from Classic, really, is I want to do Anchorage with everyone else. Like, it's going to be a gabillion people at Anchorage. It's going to be amazing. Oh, it's not. It's going to be terrible, but it's also going to be amazing, and I want to be there.
I mean, I could just walk out there. There's nothing really stopping me now, right?
I guess so.
Just walk out there as not max level scrub and corpse run it. But yeah. Eventually I'll get there. There's just there's a lot of other stuff going on in my life, and I'm not an only WoW player. Like, well, you aren't either. I know you play other games, but it's abundantly clear that I play other games, considering how many damn shows I do. So,
yeah, thanks.
Well, what are you kicking your list off with?
I'm going to kick my list off with a big one. I have never got a cutting edge raid achievement. I have never completed what we would now call a mythic raid while it is current content, which is incredibly embarrassing for someone who is like a pro gamer such as myself, and like an authority on, I would say, all things, but particularly WoW and WoW gameplay and things like that. And I'm aware it probably doesn't help the image of like an absolute casual that I have to maybe some parts of the community, but I am in a heroic raiding guild, and it's a really chill guild and it's really fun. I was specifically involved in a coup to overthrow our raid leader a few years ago because it, to make it even more fun. Which is a famous story. And whereas we're at the stage where when we used to be that we'd finish heroic and we'd get our ahead of the curve, which is lovely, and then we'd kind of like dabble in mythic, and we'd maybe go in and see how many bosses we could do without really kind of pushing ourselves too much. It was usually like 3, maybe 4, something like that, but that's not something we really do anymore. Once we've got our curve, the raid team kind of, it's understood that after a couple of re-clears, we kind of have a little bit of a chill and wait until the next tier and things like that. And obviously the guild is still very active, and we still like Mythic Plus and do other things. But yeah, that's as far as the raiding goes. And I'm at the stage where I'm really itching to do proper Mythic progress and to go out and to find myself a group that doesn't mind that have no intention of leaving my guild and like kind of do Mythic with them. Because I've never got cutting edge. And it's sad to me that I haven't, because I guess, that's, I class raiding and I class high-end raiding as the kind of ultimate achievement of WoW. I think getting cutting edge and completing the raid on its most difficult kind of setting, as it were, and killing, and particularly when it's the final raid of an expansion. So particularly at the moment where you got Nazoth there and things like that. And I think beating that is the closest you can get to a win state in WoW. I reckon.
I agree with that, and I also share that list of shame. Now, granted, my raiding heyday predates Mythic, so
yeah. So I mean, totally.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is a bit more complicated in that case, and there's a part of me that wishes that those difficulty kind of differences didn't exist. And it was like Ice Crown Citadel. It's like you go in, and if you do it, you've done it, and it's awesome, and you're up there with the best in that case. But I don't know. I like that Mythic exists because, I mean, they can make it so much harder, right? Like if Mythic didn't exist, then the hardest Mythic bosses wouldn't exist. It's as simple as that. They would be somewhere in between Mythic and Heroic, probably. But they would never reach the absolute heights of what Mythic raiding is now. And I think it's great that it's that difficult. And I think that's long been kind of WoW's trump card is the raiding and how good it is and how in depth it is and how much skill it involves and how much kind of like just work it takes. And I think that's fantastic. And I wouldn't change that. And like the fact that I've never done Mythic or never got Cutting Edge has like the opposite effect from what a lot of people who would argue against the difficulty settings might say, in that, like the fact that it's this thing that is out of my reach makes it much more tantalizing to me. I'm not content to just do my Heroic and be done with it. I want to go and do Mythic. But
is that going to be the next watch on your channel? Once you're done with Long Boy, is it going to be a Cutting Edge watch?
Absolutely not. No. I wouldn't put my team through that.
Don't you mean they wouldn't put you through that?
It's quite possible.
Is there I would say your team are the ones that are capable. It sounds like you're the one that doesn't believe in yourself, Taliesin.
No, I mean, like, I'm not a bad player by any means. I in Heroic I get 90 top 10% passes like every raid, which is
you need
not
to believe in yourself more.
It's not bad. It's good enough. Like all my passes are in the 90%, and like as a healer, and I think I would find it difficult because it would be a step up in difficulty to like properly Mythic progress. But I've got the time, that's for sure.
Anyone who's ever really achieved something great probably started with it's good enough. Believe in yourself, Tally.
But I am a comfortable Heroic raider, and I can deal with anything that Heroic raiding throws at me fairly easily. So, I mean, at this stage, I'm just not getting better, and I need something that is too hard for me so that I can get better.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
I guess the equivalent from like my heyday, which would have been Wrath of the Lich King, would have been hard mode Ulduar, because all the bosses had very unique hard mode triggers that were just super cool. And we got a lot of them done back when it was current content, but I want to say, my memory on this is fuzzy, but I'm pretty sure we choked on Memoron. I think that's where we couldn't get past Memoron's hard mode. And at that point, TOC was out, but we were still running Ulduar simultaneously because TOC was a very quick run. By rating standards, I think it was Memoron. I think we just like totally choked on Memoron and couldn't move past that. And then I think we were still working on it while TOC was out, and then ICC released, and we're like, you know what, we're done, Ulduar. We're gonna go kick Arthas's butt. But that was that would have been my attempt at the equivalent, I guess, of like a Mythic back in the day. Which means I didn't do Algalon, which I didn't even think about this going in. But yeah, not getting Algalon when Algalon was current content is a big regret of mine.
Dude, Wrath of the Lich King classic. Easy game. Your Blood Elf Paladin might be up by then. You might even be at level 70 by then. My classic experience, I think it's going to be extremely accurate because I started my Blood Elf Paladin in BC and realized, oh, they don't get buttons until 40, and got bored and went back to my Alliance Hunter.
And it wasn't until Lich King that I finished leveling it up and then made the full swap to Horde and started off tanking on that very Paladin. I think the one fight I main tanked on was Arthas, and I'm trying to remember why. But I think it was off tank for all the other fights. Anyways, yeah, that's how it's gonna go. That's how it's gonna go, Taliesin. I'm just gonna relive all of my failures throughout WoW's history.
Wow, like failing once wasn't enough. You're gonna do it again.
Gonna do it again. Have a great time doing it.
Exactly the same, but older and wiser, and where the failure means more.
I wouldn't change it for the world.
And you'll be like, okay, so I missed out on Algalon this time in Wrath of the Lich King Classic, but it's fine. I'll just wait for Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Easy. In 15 years' time. Perfect. I tell you what, Wrath of the Lich King Classic, I am nailing Algalon. It's going to be brilliant.
We're going to get off topic. But listen, time is coming. They should do seasons in Classic. I think they should do seasons.
No, are you joking me?
No, I am not. I am not.
When should they start season 2?
No. I mean, you have just your live game that never changes, and then roll some seasonal servers.
I'm giving you a terrible idea, much more thought than it deserves. At what point do you think we should start the next season of Classic?
Whenever. I'm not saying replace the servers. I'm saying roll some seasonal servers. So start it when you're ready. Start it when you're ready to add something that could be cool.
I guess, yeah, why not? Why not?
And maybe you could run those seasonal servers on patches that people actually like.
So what you're saying is, why don't we put in just as much work as it took to actually make WoW Classic in the first place for 1/10 of the amount of players to be able to re-roll on rolls?
We're both talking
and then they'll bloody complain about it anyway. So, I mean, that sounds like a really good. I can't believe John Haidt hasn't gone for this. I can't believe Ian is not sitting there now writing this down. He's furiously writing in his notepads. He listens to WoW Killer, which he always does because he told me. He's got a WoW Killer tattoo on his bum. He's got one W. He's got one W on his left cheek, and he's got one W on his right cheek. And that's just
that's all you need to say. That's all you need to say.
That's a WoW tattoo he got done like when he first got into WoW. Now he's had Killer written underneath it as well. So there you go.
It's an aside. It's just a thought I've had, and it's one that wouldn't matter to me. Someone who can't even finish leveling up in a game that doesn't have a artificial lifespan. So doesn't matter. Moving on. Next thing on my list that I was actually going to lead with.
Look at the WoW Killer logo on this screen now. I can't look at it. Because you know what I see? You know what I see. That's all I see. Now that's all I see. I see Ian's tattoo.
I'm gonna just do a custom redo of that logo and send it to you and no one else. Chat room. Meanwhile, Ian is saying, "How does he know?"
Oh my! This is taking a turn that I didn't expect, but also it hasn't surprised me.
I mean, of course, Taliesin would know when you host a Q&A, you have to do the WoW handshake, and I'm not going to. You don't shake with your hands.
They don't tell you no secrets until you've done the initiation. And I'm pleased to say I passed the initiation with flying colors.
All right, Taliesin, are you ready? Are you ready for another piece of my list of shame that is basically irrelevant now?
Okay, what?
I never got the Water Strider.
That is what? You never got the Water Strider? Nope. Even when they made it like super easy to get the Water Strider, like in Legion?
Listen, I will tell you, I will go this far. I don't even know how you get the goddamn Water Strider.
Wow. That's amazing.
I knew it vaguely had something to do with fishing. And my brain just went, well, I guess I'll never get that shit, and just moved on with my life. Like, it was there are a few things in World of Warcraft that I have dismissed quicker and more permanently than any hope of getting the Water Strider mount.
Yeah. I would actually like combine this with one of my list of shame things, which is that I have literally no idea about what mount or like what piece of gear or what piece of transmog comes from like any raid. Like, you know, whenever I tune into like a WoW streamer or something, they're always doing like old transmog runs, or they've got their mount run like loop that they go and do, you know, every single week. They send like 3 characters on the mount run, you know, and they go here and they do this thing, and they go here and they do this thing, and they run this old raid and they do this and that. And like, they always know exactly which boss is going to drop this thing. And they're always like, oh, will it drop it? Will it drop it? And of course it doesn't. And they're like, oh, okay, fine. I have no idea about any of that stuff. I don't know any of that stuff. Like from before WoD, I don't know what boss drops, because I wasn't raiding, you know, like my first proper raiding experience was in WoD. So before that, I know literally nothing. Like, I wouldn't know where to start. If I was to say I'm going to go on a mount run, I don't know what that means. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Does Algalon have a mount? I know where he is. I don't know anything else. That's it.
Well, I mean, you've won like the cool mounts out of Ulduar. You got to do Glory of the Ulduar Raider.
Oh, what? How do I do that? I don't need to know.
Have actually yielded.
That's going to be the biggest ball. I already know that Glory of the. I've never looked it up. I already know that's the biggest ball lake. I'm going nowhere near it. Are you kidding me? I hate doing Ulduar runs. Ulduar is an amazing like raid. It's incredible. I don't want to go near it. You got to do that stupid bit with the stupid vehicles at the beginning, and then you got this stupid bit where you got to bring the stupid dragon down with these stupid like harpoons, and that's before it's not even, and that's before you even get to the good bit. You've got like half an hour of Ulduar before you even gets good. Before you even get inside.
For the greatest raid of all time, it really does have a pretty unawesome opening. Although at the time it was really cool, and they didn't make us joust, so we loved it.
Like, at the time, obviously it's awesome, but going back and running it now, oh my god, that can dick right off. Seriously, like
I love Ulduar so much. But yeah, I'm with you. It's really a painful place to go for transmog. I think my pretty good knowledge of what armor comes from where falls off a cliff after Pandaria.
So for you, it's the newer stuff you don't know where the mounts and transmog and stuff is.
Yes, yeah, because I'm a little more. That's the opposite of me. I'm in as a boomer WoW player now. As I enter my boomer years of World of Warcraft, I'm more along for the ride as I make you choke
with anger and disbelief. No, I just choked on my coffee because I'm an idiot. Sorry, ignore that. I was so excited to start talking again.
My Legion's knowledge is pretty good because I loved that expansion. But the only mount I like really wanted was the Fox, and it was complete RNG if you were going to get it, and I got it like almost immediately. So yeah, it's like the one time in World of Warcraft I have just been exceptionally lucky.
I think I got the Fox like a week before Legion eventually finished. And I spent the whole of Legion going, this is so dumb. I just want the Fox. I just want the stupid Fox. And like, it's so stupid, the stupid RNG. I've gone the whole expansion, not getting the stupid invite to go on the stupid Fox hunt. And I found the invite in my bags. And I'm pretty sure that I probably had it in there from about the second week of Legion. The invite to actually start the quest that gives you the Fox mount. So I'm pretty sure that the only reason I didn't get the Fox mount until the end of Legion was my own stupidity. But also, screw you, Blizz, with your stupid RNG. Get out.
Yeah, but back to the...
my list of shame. Now we mentioned it. It should probably be on my list of shame.
I need to talk to Jocelyn because I'm not sure she ever got her Fox mount either. And we were doing a WoW show together at the time. She's still doing For Azeroth, fantastic World of Warcraft podcast. You should go check out. But it's been a point of contention for so long that I just don't bring it up anymore. Like, because I feel like she's like going to jump through the internet and murder me for my Fox. But back to the Water Strider, the Water Strider kind of falls under this entire umbrella of just fishing in general in World of Warcraft. If there's ever been anything to accomplish or get or work for, and it has been gated by fishing, I just haven't done it because I just don't. The last time I fished with any regularity was vanilla World of Warcraft, because I didn't want to spend copper to feed my pet as a hunter. And then, of course, that is something that it has not existed in my Classic experience. As realistic and true to my Classic experience as playing through Classic has been, one of the major things that has changed is I know how to make money. So I just buy food for my cat and move on with my life. And so now I don't even fish in Classic. So I'm just...
I mean, me neither. I mean, I don't fish in WoW. Despite, I had such big plans when I got my fishing artifact in Legion. Because, I enjoyed getting that and doing the quest line to get the fishing artifact. And I was like, wow, now I've got the fishing artifact. It makes fishing so much easier. I'm going to fish all of the time. I'm going to make so much gold from fishing. I'm going to make all of the food. I'm going to sell it on the auction house. I'm going to give it to my raid team. I'm going to be the fishing guy. They'll call me Taliesin, who does the fishing. And they'll be like, yo, Tally, how's your fishing today? And I'll be like, it's pretty good. Use my artifact to get all these amazing fish. Do you want some? Well, it's going to cost you. And they'll be like, oh, Tally, here's loads of gold. And I was like, yeah, brilliant. Fishing artifact is going to sort all that out for me. Fishing's boring, isn't it? It's rubbish.
It is.
Let's be honest. It's rubbish.
It is, as I pull up my Switch and start playing Animal Crossing New Horizons and tweeting about how amazing it is. Fishing is so boring.
For me, the problem with fishing, and I say this as someone who really enjoyed fishing as a kid, like I grew up by the sea, and I used to go fishing off Nab Rock in the Mumbles, and like we'd go, lots of mackerel around there, catch a lot of mackerel. I once caught 4 mackerel on one fly.
Mackerel is the first word I understood in that entire story.
So I used to go fishing when I was a teenager, and I used to really enjoy it. It's a relaxing activity. I can see why people like it. I kind of grew out of finding pleasure in killing a fish by smacking its head with a hammer. But
you do realize you can throw them back, right? Like you're not required to beat them to death. The people I fished with would actually take the fish home and gut them and cure them and eat them, and they were fishing and they would eat. Oh, well then I do not understand, because
unfortunately with flies like that, quite a lot of the time they're a bit too big for mackerel, really, and quite a lot of time when you're pulling the mackerel in, and there's a big current down there at Nabrock, so quite a lot of time the hook would be through its head and stuff, and you'd have to so you were doing it a and by smashing its head with a hammer. But I mean,
I was doing a bit, and you took it to a really serious dark place. Thank you for that.
And so I get the appeal of real life fishing, but WoW fishing can do one. It's kind of like, it's not passive enough to be able to do anything else while you're fishing in WoW, because you need the sound effect and you need to be able to see when the thing is bobbing, and you don't have much time to press the thing when that happens. But it's not involved enough to be even slightly interesting. So it's neither.
I am certain you could get an add-on that would just turn it to like a guttural scream from your favorite metal band every time the bobber goes up and down, and that way you could be doing other things, and you just put it on.
Because it's you don't have enough time. There's like a 10-second gap in between each time you have to kind of press it, which is not quite long enough to do anything, but not quite short enough to be interesting. So you got that thing that you can't go to another screen, and actually do anything. Maybe you could have something like a TV show on and be watching that, but I mean that's about it. So I find other professions like herbing is much more fun, because you're navigating around the world and you're landing on stuff and you're picking stuff up and then you're looking for the next thing and what have you. So that's just about involved enough to be worthwhile for me. But fishing, nah, not even with my amazing fishing artifact, which I love. So there we go. So what I'm saying is I understand that one, friend.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you understand something. Now, yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it, because this was Mists of Pandaria, which I think was my most grind positive expansion. Because you know me, Taliesin, if there's one thing you've learned about me during this show, I think it's probably that I don't like grinding reputation.
Yeah, I have learned that, actually. But I mean, every time we talk about it, I'm amazed, and I'm like, oh, why do you even play this game? And then I kind of forget about it, and then you talk about it again, and I'm amazed again, anew. And here I am sitting here amazed. You don't like reputation? Why do you even play this game?
Because the point I was most in love with this game, I got to play it however the hell I wanted and still grind reputation.
Fair.
So
fair. You say however the hell you wanted.
Well,
could do it in dungeons, and that just so happened to be a way that you liked it. You couldn't have done it any way you wanted.
That's fair.
It just happened. One of the ways you could do it was a way you liked.
Fair. More options than they give me now.
Fair.
But no, it's just I'm thinking of Pandaria, and I don't think I've ever like ground up freaking reputations that fast in my life. Like as soon as I was max level, it was like I need a Cloud Serpent and I need these ballin' ass tigers from the Shadow Pan. I need them now. And I was just going, and like I didn't even think about it because to me, like the Cloud Serpents and the tigers were so cool. The reward was so awesome that I didn't. We should go back to our Pathfinder conversation. I didn't even think about this. Those to me, that was such a better carrot on the end of the stick than you get to fly. Something you've done 7 other times in 7 other expansions.
I think so.
Yeah, it's definitely a philosophical. I'm finding things out about my World of Warcraft self today, Taliesin.
Oh, it's stuff we've always known about you. But yeah.
Yeah, you do not understand how much, as someone who started in vanilla as a night elf, how much getting a new a rideable tiger model in World of Warcraft, how exciting that was to me.
I'm down with it. No, I agree, and I really like the new kind of like cat models that they introduced relatively recently as well. I'm down with cat. I think cat mounts are like up there with iconic WoWisms, and I'm a huge fan of them.
Yeah,
I love them.
I may be now realizing that part of the reason I like Miss Pandaria so much is we got an updated tiger model. I think that might be it.
It's the little things, like totally.
That might be really outweighing no. Pandaria I still think is absolutely incredible. But what's next on your list, Taliesin?
Mine, I can actually get one that links to the fishing thing, like to make it look like we're professional.
Would you say it hooks to the fishing thing?
Oh, you really reeled me in with that one.
I'm just bobbing.
Thanks for feeding me that excellent line.
All you need is good bait.
This conversation has really scaled up.
You win. You're out. I'm out.
Yeah, my one is engineering. I am ashamed that I'm ashamed that I would love to have a character like every serious WoW player does that is an engineer and has the engineer profession and has cool engineering toys and can do cool things like have rocket boots and can do cool things like have like a transmog robot that you drop down every now and then and can do cool things like having like a repair robot that you can drop down every now and then and also have a profession that is even slightly fun. Because engineers are the only one that do. And like clearly, it's a really cool part of the game. Everyone who has an engineer character really enjoys it and really like is excited about new kind of engineering recipes and stuff when they happen. And is like, oh, look at the new engineering goggles, or look at this new thing I can make with engineering this tier and stuff like that. And like, it's clearly something that people get a lot out of the game. And I would like to have that fun, but I've never done it, and I wouldn't even know where to start, and so I hate it. And so I hate everyone that's got an engineer.
So throughout the very early WoW years, I didn't understand, nor did I have a whole lot of interest in understanding professions. Because so much of it just came down to like, I want to be a cool elf and go run dungeons, and anything else I'm just not interested in. Like I was like, I don't want to go get mining or whatever. But engineering is the entire thing that made me go and finally figure out professions.
You see, wish I was you.
Yeah, I was in. It was probably not as late as I think, but it feels like it was later in BC for me. Because, that flying machine, man, I needed it. I had to have it. It was amazing. And then along the way, I found out about things like goggles and whatnot, right? So I can confirm as someone who was like a hunter engineer up through about halfway of Wrath of the Lich King, engineering is rad. And I've heard it only gets radder. I haven't really played much of my hunter in recent expansions, but I love going back to him because of engineering and like all the things that I built. And I still have dude, I still have like an entire bank tab full of the first repair bot they ever put in the game. And I still use them because they still work. You can still repair. And I love it.
Sad.
I get all excited. I'm like
compounding my misery in the fact that I don't have an engineer.
Yeah.
And literally the only reason I don't have an engineer is because it looks a bit hard. It looks like something I have to think about. So I'm like, I'll do it. I will do it one day. You know, when I've got nothing else to do, I'll actually just like literally Google WoW engineering guide, and I'll look it up and I'll work out what I've got to do, and it'll probably take me like a day, you know, to get up to speed with it. Really,
I think you'll actually find it's not that bad. It's
but outside, it seems that much more intimidating than every other kind of profession, I guess. And so the reason it's shameful to me is because I know that it's just me being a dick. That's the reason I haven't done it. I just know it's my own fault.
Another reason I really enjoyed it too was because like even at kind of peak times where I had hyper researched World of Warcraft and I knew exactly what was coming down the pipe, what was going to be in the next patch, what my game plan is, what I'm looking to accomplish, I've never been the type that really researches professions. It's something that like ahead of time, that kind of pre-knowledge doesn't really excite me. It's probably a main reason why I've been perpetually broke in World of Warcraft. And engineering was one of these cool things that to me it was always very apparent as an engineer when new engineering things came into the game, because the engineers that knew about this stuff ahead of time and raced to get the new things you could craft, you'd be like, oh shit, those are new goggles. That's really cool. And so like even at my most hyper aware parts of World of Warcraft, engineering was this little bit that I could discover naturally in game and then immediately go chase it. Be like, oh, yeah. I see a cool thing that some other engineer has. It's like, all right, what is it? How do I get it? I've got a new personal goal for this tune. And for me, that like little very personal cycle was super cool and rewarding. I mean,
and that's literally where that's what WoW is all about, really, when it comes down to it. And that's what the longevity of WoW is based on, is personal goals. So the more things you have that you have those personal goals with, the more enjoyable you experience, I'm sure. And like, yeah, exactly. And I think engineering would undoubtedly add to that for me. And I'm sure it's not that hard to get into, but I've just got this weird kind of thing where I'm like, oh, I'm just putting it off and putting it off. And I know I'll really enjoy it, but yeah. So that's on my list of shame.
So I'm gonna get to my biggest shame, which
wait, you've got a shame bigger than these terrible ones you've already said?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I have.
I'm not sure. Are we all? It's going to change how we think of you. Wow.
Well, people already know I haven't read the Arthas book.
I respect you. I would say like a decent amount. You know, not like role model, but I mean, more than I respect someone I don't know, I guess. So, like,
I have a lot of respect for certain people that I don't know.
Of you is what I'm asking.
I guess this one really just comes down to a lack of patience or ability to stick with things. But I never got invincible from ICC. Mm-hmm.
Is it just because you couldn't see him?
Because what?
Is it just because you couldn't see him?
Because I couldn't see him?
That's making an invisible joke.
Oh.
That's what you should be ashamed of, is you didn't get the instant
you should be ashamed of that joke, frankly.
That's shameful. That's what I'm going to judge you for. Are you kidding me? You talked about invincible and then someone made an invisible joke and you didn't even...
Shit, it was so bad. I was like, that can't possibly be the joke he's making. Yeah, I don't see him because he never dropped. And then eventually I got bored and wandered off.
So what you're actually ashamed of is like, because like, I think not having invincible and it is still a badge of honor in a way if you're still trying to get invincible. You know, it's like, week 10,005, still no invincible drop. And that's a badge of honor because it shows how serious and dedicated you are to it. And one day you'll be able to go on Twitter and be like, I got invincible. Yeah, finally I have won. Wow. But no, so your shame really is that you can't be bothered to even try. Bit like me with engineering.
I want to say I did a good 40 runs, like uninterrupted. And at that point I was like, I'm done. I'm done. On to other things. There was a stint where I went for it. And eventually I got bored, man. I got bored and I wandered off.
Is that literally the last time you've ever tried? Have you like just popped there on occasion? Even if you don't do it regularly, is it something that maybe once a year or so you'll go,
yeah, I've definitely been back, but that hasn't been the main reason. Like I'll go back because like I've got like a new tune to max level, and like it's like I think leather is my most uncollected armor collection. So it's like, oh, I got a rogue, and I remember liking the set from ICC. Let me get in there and do a transmog run. Like I'm in there for other things. And I can't remember the last time I went to ICC specifically to be like, let's see if I can get invincible. Because like, to me, they've just crushed my hope. And I'm just like, all right, I'll just go in and get some transmog, and like, I think my hope has been so crushed that it's not even a thing in the back of my mind. Like, maybe I'll get invincible. Who knows? No, my soul tells me it's just never going to happen.
That's a shame. I'm sorry. I mean, this kind. I mean, I like the one thing that I farm old raids for, and I take this very seriously, is the tusks of Manaroth. Is the shoulders from Garrosh.
Yeah, I know, because we still get tweets from people that are like, excuse me, Taliesin, could you repeat your how you gained the no,
yeah,
you saw it. I guess it's been a little bit, but
I literally have a second account, a mule account. I mean, it's a third account really, because I've got 5 active accounts, but like I have an account which is dedicated to a character sitting outside Rogmore and keeping the heroic Garrosh lockout. I mean, that's literally why they are there. And then performing the routine of going in and trying to get and blitzing it and doing like tens of runs at a time to try and get them. And I've done over 1,000 Garrosh kills and still haven't got them. And it's sad. It's very, very sad. But that's the only thing. And like when I think about stuff like this goes back to my shame from earlier. When I think about stuff like Invincible, the only way I'm ever going to get invincible is if I help someone out one day by going into ICC and it happens to drop, like completely by chance. That's the only way. When I think about, for example, like the time lost Proto Drake, which is another big one that people go on about an awful lot, and they're like, like
I used to camp honestly, that one a lot during actual Lich King.
I wouldn't know the time lost Proto Drake if I saw it. Like, it's genuinely not beyond the realms of impossibility that I have flown past the time lost Proto Drake and not even noticed. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that I've been there doing like Lawmaster or something, and I've just like killed it just because it was there and didn't even bother looting it. Like, it's not beyond the realms of possibility because I wouldn't even know what I was looking at. It's as simple as that. And that's a bit of a shame for me, really. It's not because I don't care about stuff like that, although it's just because, yeah, it's a lack of knowledge that I haven't bothered to fill in, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, which is, I think, a good part of this list for both of us, right? I think we're finding things that have just never piqued our interest enough to fully research it.
Yeah, and then as you get more into the game and your kind of horizons across the game expand, you feel a bit ashamed of the fact that you never kind of did something so easy. That's definitely how I felt with PvP. Like I was scared of ranked PvP when it came down to it, because it's just a part of the game that I'd never played. And, it can be quite intimidating to get into because you don't want to let anyone down. You're in a team, and it's ranked, man. It's important. Like, people's rankings kind of depend on it and things like that. So unless you've got like a nice group of people that you can learn with, it can be incredibly intimidating. And so I'd never done any PvP, and I kind of assumed it was something that I would never do until BFA and the Hippo. And when that Hippo mount came along for the Alliance for Season 1 of PvP, as the vicious war saddle for that season. I was like, I need that in my life so bad that I have to do PvP. And obviously I completely enjoyed it. And I found a nice group of people to do threes with, and we had a really good time. And it probably took a bit longer to earn than it should have done, but we got there. And now I count it as one of my most satisfying achievements in WoW, partly because it's such a unique and amazing mount, but also because what I had to do to get it, which was to go outside my comfort zone and play a bit of the game that I wouldn't have done otherwise, and really enjoyed it as well. And so I feel like that could definitely apply to more of the game for me if I wasn't bad. And that's kind of like my next shame is just the achievements tab in general, because I feel like so much of the achievements tab, I don't really care about achievements, but I do hate unfilled bars. Okay.
Ooh,
so I don't care about achievements in real time, and this is the problem, but I care about achievements when they're not relevant anymore. So I guess what I'm saying is I look at the achievements for BFA now, and I look at things like Aqua Murder Squad and stuff like that, and I look like stuff like Mecha Done, okay? And I look at stuff like all the Najatar achievements, and I think, nah, mate, can't be bothered with that. Do what you can't? Nah, won't be doing that. Got better things to do, mate. Got farming to do. Got something like that. But I know that the second they're not relevant anymore, I'm going to be so annoyed with myself that I didn't get them. Because when it's not current content, it makes it so like. So the prime example is the garrison achievements from WoD. You know, I look at all these garrison achievements in WoD, and they're just sitting there, grayed out. And, you know, I'm never going to get them because that would involve going and doing stuff on my garrison, and screw that. But I could have done them. Garrett. Wow, your name sounds like Garrison. Weird. I could have done them, Garrett, when WoD was like happening and I was playing it every single day. I could have done them easily, but I didn't do them because I had the same view of them as I do for some of the BFA ones now, like Mechadon. I could do Mechadon. I'd probably quite enjoy doing Mechadon. It'd be brilliant. I get a really cool wheel thing out of it. It'd be fantastic. Once Shadowlands starts, that's it. Mechadon ain't never getting done. It's as simple as that. And I know that once I'm in Shadowlands, I'm looking back at those achievements, those kind of like, expansion-specific achievements. I'll look back and I'll go, why didn't I do them? Like, why didn't I do them? Why didn't I complete all of the island expedition achievements? It would have been easy. I could have easily done it if I just like looked at them and gone, oh, I'll do that. Like, why didn't I get all the glory achievements? Why didn't I do them when it would have been fun to do them? Now, why if I want to get those stupid WoD ones done, I have to go back and I have to do something I don't want to do. What's wrong with me, Garrett?
You're a sane person. Why are you even looking at those bars in the first place? What are you doing, like going and looking back at WoD achievements?
Because, you know, I look at how few achievement points I've got, and people laugh at me at how few achievement points I've got, and I'm like, well, okay, granted, this particular account that I'm playing on now, my main account, has only been active since after WoD started.
Okay, all right. Are you actually letting internet shame get to you? Taliesin, this happens to me. Do you know how much this happens to me? Because people are like, oh my god, you don't. How many not golden or now 1,000 win portraits do you not have in Hearthstone? How many? Why is your overall level in Heroes of the Storm so low, Garrett? You do a show, and to them I go, well, how many portraits do you have in that? And also, what's your level in Heroes of the Storm? And also, how many raids have you completed in World of Warcraft? Because I'm playing all the Blizzard games. And then if they're like, well, I play all those Blizzard games, and I'm still higher than you, I go, well, how many 1,000 episodes of podcasts have you put out?
and also, you just got to tell them, like, I do have like a really high Heroes rating, but it just lives in Canada, and like I only see it at the holidays.
Well, yeah, I have my Smurf account that nobody knows the name of because it just too awesome. So, I don't really want to flex on people.
Exactly. Like, this is the account that I used to play with my friends, and it just drags my rating down and stuff like that. But I've got a high rating that lives in Canada.
I started it up when I was dating my Canadian girlfriend. It was,
I've got a really high rating. It just goes to a different school, and like, you just never seen it. That's all. But it is hot. My high rating is so hot.
You're really casting that one out there.
Yeah. Are you still making fishing puns?
We call that a callback.
I call that a net loss.
Well, let's reel this back in, shall we? You already used that one.
We did the real
We
joke.
did the real one. Yep. Let's reel it back in. Yeah. God, thank you. Thank you so much for bringing.
No one will know.
Thank you for bringing up Time Lost Proto Drake, because not only is that on my list of shame, because it was something I actively camped for a long time during Wrath of the Lich King. It was basically where I would go hang out when I just wanted to be in game but wasn't really doing anything. I don't even know why. You probably run circles in capital cities, right? When you're BSing with your friends.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I would just go do that in the Storm Peaks. I would just run circles around Storm Peaks with my
Shadowlands capital, Oribos, because it is just a big circle.
Ooh, you're right.
Like, it's been designed with that in mind. I think it's got like your soul well thing in the middle, and then it's just a big O shape. It's like
just the opposite.
Talking on comms, yeah.
It is just the opposite of BFA capitals, which makes it the best.
Yeah, it absolutely is, yeah.
The best. But yeah, I used to just run circles around Storm Peaks while I was BSing with my friends, smacking my macro to try and target the damn thing, and it never happened. It never happened. But you actually reminded me of what might actually be. This might, I think this is it. I think this is I didn't even think about this because I've just suppressed it. I've suppressed this failure, this inability to complete a reputation grind. I've suppressed it so deep, I didn't even think about it. This Taliesin is actually my greatest shame because I'm actually depressing levels of close to finishing this achievement. I never got my Nether Drake.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
wow.
I went for it. That was the first reputation grind I actually really attempted.
Are you sure you played BC?
I did. I did. I was very busy learning how to actually play WoW proper in BC because I did it wrong in vanilla. And then BC was me learning how to actually be a decent WoW player that didn't drag my raid team down. That was where a lot of my effort in BC went. And also trying to pay back my friend that lent me 3,000 gold so I could get epic flying. That's where all of my BC effort went. And I even went back years after the fact. I think it was Cataclysm. Because that was kind of a big second rush of me and Katie playing together. Been a really long time since we've both kind of been on the same page in World of Warcraft. And she got really into mount collecting. And she's like, I never finished off my Nether Drake in Burning Crusade. I'm gonna go back. You want to come with me? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I missed 3 days. And so she got there before me, and I was like, you're happy. I don't really care. I seriously might be a week away from getting my Nether Drake, and I just haven't taken the freaking time to go back and finish it out.
That's like me with my driving test in real life. I can't drive. That's one of my big life shames.
Really?
And something. Well, yeah. And also, I was planning on doing a really intensive. Okay, so in the UK, it's harder to learn to drive anyway because we all learn with stick. We don't drive automatic cars in this country, or if we do, we don't learn on automatic cars. I don't know anyone that learned to drive an automatic car. Everyone I've ever known learned to drive with stick, which is objectively harder than learning automatic. But nearly every American I know got their driver's license and learned on automatic, which is apparently a lot easier. So, it used to be a British kind of point of pride that, why would you learn automatic? You don't even know how to drive a car. It's like Mario Kart, right, as opposed to Dark Souls, okay? It was kind of like gatekeeping, I guess, kind of like gamer gatekeeping. And it's you can't even drive stick. I bet you couldn't even get past the training level of Cuphead, you automatic driver. And so I learned how to drive, and I did my theory test, and I got 100% in my theory test, even though for quite a few of the questions I pressed 4 buttons at once because I didn't know the answer, but I still got it right. And my driving instructor when I was 18, because you have to be 17 to drive in this country, not 16 like you are in the States. But my driving instructor was like, okay, that's great. Well, we'll do one more lesson and then we'll book your actual test and then you'll be a driver. And I was like, brilliant. And I went home. I just never booked that other lesson. So I never got, obviously now all my, temporary licenses are expired and stuff. So, but I was going to do an intensive course when my baby was born, so I could drive my baby around, but then COVID happened. So that all went down the pan. Really.
I want the listeners at home to realize how much I am holding back going down just a deep car rabbit hole right now.
What do you mean?
I like cars a lot. I like cars.
Yeah.
I learned how to drive stick when I was 14, but my first car was on automatic, so I completely forgot it, and I had to learn how to drive stick all over again when I decided I want a stick car because they're more fun to drive in my mid-20s.
Yeah, there you go. See, like, and that's the thing. And like in this country, everyone just learns on stick. Like, it's not even kind of up for debate, really. So, and I was like, well, okay, I know how to drive, and if I just went for an intensive course and I did it on automatic, because like these days cars are automatic, right? There's no reason to drive a stick car
unless
anymore,
you want the better cars. I mean, all the better cars are manual.
I don't think that's even true. I think I think all cars eventually will be automatic. So like I was like, yeah, I'll just learn automatic. It's so much easier than stick. Like that's the hard thing about learning to drive is learning the stick, right? And that's a part of learning to drive. And so the freedom of admitting that you don't have to do that is quite, like, for a British person, is quite a revelation, really. And you go, oh, this is why, like, in American dramas and stuff, they turn 16 and they get their driving license and it's super easy, is because they all learn automatic like absolute chuds. And I'm here. We are.
Well, Taliesin, if you watch, I mean, I don't know how true that is, because if you watch Fast and the Furious, not only are they driving stick shifts, but they have like 18 gears. I mean, it's
well, it's all those talk buttons, It's like their Stream Deck of talk buttons. Like, that's very important. Very important.
Yep. Yeah. When you take your driver, you think it's easy, but when you take your driver's license in the States, you need to learn how to drive stick while simultaneously chugging Mountain Dew and pressing the NOS button. Okay. And
also
very difficult.
American roads are about 6 times the size of British roads as well. That's the thing you got to remember. It's like you've got a lot more space to actually be driving.
But our cars are also about 16 times the size of your cars.
Like, think about it. I'm pretty sure there's literally more wheel movement involved in passing a British driving test than there is an American driving test.
I was trying and I failed. I'm so sorry, listeners. There's so much more I want to say.
So, like, I can't even remember what that was all about now. I can't even remember what that was. That was leading into something. But it's just, I guess it's an example of I've got a shame that I never learned to drive. And I was going to link that to WoW, but I've completely forgotten where we came from. Completely forgetting where that started.
I'm trying to think of an analogy of how much you probably don't even realize you've triggered certain car enthusiasts by saying all cars will eventually be automatic. I'm trying to think of a WoW analogy to pull us out of this, and I think it's the closest thing would be like, it's like saying like eventually professions will just farm themselves.
Well, obviously all cars are going to be automatic at some point, because all cars are going to be self-drive. So like the only reason you'll have to like you will have to learn how to drive, but I mean, like, it will only be for when your self-drive malfunctions and you have to kind of take over. All cars will be self-drive because that's safer. Like, there's no way that once self-drive is a thing, once automatic driving is a thing, there's no way that they're going to let you drive if you want to, because that's so much more dangerous. Like, the rules of the road will be that you have to have an automatic drive car, and like you'll only be able to drive it manually when you have to. Like, it's so much faster and safer and more efficient to have like automatic like drive cars that like it would be like negligent to allow people to drive manually, frankly. So yeah, I mean, I know car enthusiasts like to pretend that that's not going to be the case, but it is, and I think you need to fucking get over it, man.
So what's next on your list before I go off on you?
I can't even remember why I started talking about that, but it was like, you have to believe me, okay? It was a genuine like wow point that I was trying to make, but I just got distracted. Now all I can think of is Batman and Robin, because that's where my mind always ends up. Now all I can think of is Batman Returns and George Clooney and ice puns from Arnold Schwarzenegger, and like that's all I can think of. So my next shame, and this is a big one for me, and I don't want you to judge me, because I am a man that runs a WoW YouTube channel, and it's quite popular, just saying, and also the stream and what have you. And on that channel, we make class guides, and one of my favorite videos that we make is melee, Legion melee, ranked, BFA ranged, ranked, because they're funny videos, they're fun to make, they're like just some of our favorite videos to do. So my shame is that I don't really know how rogues work. So I play every class in the game. Okay, I've got every class at max level. I have, I play them all. I play every spec. And obviously when it comes around, to making those ranked videos, I'm not just taking my own word for it. I have like deep conversations with people who know those classes inside out. Because even though I play every class in the game, I'd say there's only about 4 or 5 that I would happily say I know to a level that I could be any kind of authority on them. So like, it's cool that I play the other classes. So it's not like I'm, making stuff up or whatever, but like, and so I would say I have a firm grasp on every class in the game, every spec in the game, even Feral Druid, Garrett. I would say I have a firm enough grasp on those specs to be able to talk about them. I don't really understand how rogues work. I don't understand what they are.
It's funny. It's funny you should mention that, because my WoW experience for like the last 3 weeks has basically just been very slowly leveling my rogue alt. That has been my rogue alt in perpetuity. I have never finished leveling this tune.
What spec have you been leveling as?
And that's something it's part of the story. Is I was like, all right, time to dust off the rogue. All right, I'm gonna take it out of the garage, keep the car metaphors going. I'm gonna dust it off. Let's get it into gear and peel out. So I started asking for, advice. Hey, rogue buddies. I keep wanting to say mates, because you're making me want to say mates all the time now, because you start talking to someone enough, you start picking up things that they say, and I'm actively trying to. Well, I'm trying not to do that. Yeah, do what? You know what I was going to say. And everyone's like, Outlaw. You should play Outlaw. And I'm like, okay, cool. Sounds good. Look up some guides. Yep. Everyone's saying, go do Outlaw. And I'm doing Outlaw, and I'm playing, and I'm like, this is the thought I had, Taliesin. This is too good. This is too cool. This is too modern. It didn't feel like Rogue to me, because all the other times I've gotten into Rogue, like my initial leveling of this perpetual alt that I've never actually max leveled, they were like before Outlaw Rogue was a thing, and I was like, and nothing against Outlaw Rogue, I think it's cool as shit. I think it really fits. Like having rogues be more of like on the pirate side of things, that has been something that has been in World of Warcraft since vanilla. We've been looking at like rogue pirates, ninja pirates. I love it since the very beginning of this damn game. But it's just it's too polished. It feels too modern, and it works too well. And I was like, no, I need.
That's what it is. It's too much fun. And this is like I understand. And this is one of the reasons why I'm having my rogue confession now, is because look, I just said I don't understand how rogues work. I've got 2 max level rogues. I've got 2 120 rogues, both of which I leveled from scratch. Okay, like no boosts. Like we just, we did it. We did it probably both of them. Both of them I leveled as Outlaw, because it's too damn fun. It's so much more fun than Subtlety or Assassination. And when it's time to make those videos, I go back and I make my weak auras for Assassination and for Subtlety, and I play them, and I get used to the rotation, and I talk to people that play those classes at a very high level, and I get their opinions, and I get them to explain things that I don't understand about the spec, and I get a feel for the spec, and enough to the point that I can make jokes about it. Like that's a level of understanding. Like I always think that you understand a language. If you can speak another language, if you can make jokes in that language, then you understand that language fluently, right? If you can make jokes in another language, then you can speak that language well enough. So if I can understand a spec enough to make jokes about it, and for people who play that spec to go, yeah, then you understand that spec, okay? So if I can get to a point where I can make jokes about how a spec works, and like make jokes about the rotation, and make jokes about some of their abilities, then I understand that spec well enough. And I get to that point every time I need to make one of those videos. But then when that stays with me for every other class. But for rogues, if you told me, like if you asked me to explain Assassination Rogue to you now, I wouldn't be able to. If you asked me to explain Subtlety Rogue to you right now, I just wouldn't be able to. I'd be able to talk to you about Outlaw for hours, because I love it. What a great spec. I mean, it's stupid. It's a terrible spec. In fact, it's awful, but it's brilliant and it's stupid fun, and I love it. And that's maybe one of the reasons why I haven't even touched Assassination or Subtlety all expansion. So the last time I played either of those specs was in like July 2 years ago when I was making the melee videos for BFA. I didn't touch them since, because why would you when Outlaw Rogue exists? It's too fun.
Because my enjoyment of the class went up tenfold when I decided to switch to Subtlety for leveling.
Really?
Is that feels like, to me, it feels like Rogue, and I know it's weird, and there's on other shows, and this comes up on like our Heroes of the Storm show a lot. Like there's a certain level of clunk that kind of keeps me away from things, and at the same time, there's also a certain level of clunk I kind of expect. Like there's certain Overwatch heroes in Heroes of the Storm right now that can attack while moving, and in a MOBA that just feels wrong to me because I've spent so much of my life learning how to stutter step. So it's like there's a happy medium of just enough clunk to make it feel like it belongs in this game, but too much clunk, I'm not interested in it. But like not enough of it, it feels kind of weird and unnatural and goes against like the muscle memory I've spent developing in certain games. And I guess the same is true here. Like Outlaw it feels too smooth and too well sorted. Whereas I switch to Subtlety and suddenly it's like, all right, go to stealth before I attack my next target. And frankly, it has been shored up. Like Shadow Strike wasn't a thing when I first made this tune. Shadow Strike's amazingly fun. And I'm like, why do I have Shadow Step anymore? That's a question I'm asking myself right now while leveling a rogue, is I don't know why I have Shadow Step. Shadow Step is one of the coolest abilities in the game, but Shadow Strike kind of just makes it pointless. But yeah, the second I switched to Subtlety, I was like, oh, this is what I think of the rogue. Like when the whole reason I kind of rolled the tune is like I want to be this stabby bastard from the shadows, and Outlaw doesn't do that. But I still think there's still something inherently, well, obviously there's something inherently cool about Outlaw. Like Outlaw Rogue is like the Mountain Dew Fast and the Furious of World of Warcraft, as far as I'm concerned. Like it just excretes coolness. Yeah. But to me, Subtlety is more like when I just think of Rogue, what's the first thing I think of? I think of that stealth noise.
Yeah, totally. I always think like Rogue is such like an insider's class. You know, it's like it's one of those classes that people dedicate their entire WoW lives to. You know, it's like one of those classes that I always think Warlock is the other one. Like Warlock and Rogue are those classes that they're very kind of insular in a way, the communities kind of almost like in that they're so specific as far as communities go. And they're so dedicated, like Rogue and Warlock, I think they have that kind of like almost cult-like feel about them, you know? And I really respect that. And maybe it's going back to the engineering thing. Maybe there's an intimidation in kind of breaching that. And kind of getting really involved in rogues in that way. I did it with Warlock, and it feels great. One of my favorite characters is Warlock. And like, I guess, and Subtlety is totally where it's at. I know that. Maybe it's just an intimidation thing. I don't know. But I don't really understand them. Or what they are, even though I would pick it up and like I'm sure it'd come back to me from when I played it a lot in the alpha, and I'm sure that I'm sure I could be a decent rogue pretty soon. But like
it's quickly rising up my ranks of what do I want to start as my main in Shadowlands. So I'm just having a good time. I mean, at the moment, also it's like the most stress-free thing I'm doing in video games is leveling an alt in World of Warcraft. Like it is, it's that or Animal Crossing is where I go to relax, turn my brain off, stop thinking about things for a bit. But I'm really enjoying it. The thing, and this might even be our next topic or a topic as we get closer to Shadowlands, is like, how do you choose your next main? Although it'd probably be a really boring conversation for you. I am officially just off the reservation. I have no loyalty to anything.
No, since I've been playing every class in the game for the last couple of expansions, it's a genuine, because okay, my main is pretty much nailed down, but I always have like one or two main alts as well, which I play almost just as much. So like it's absolutely a question. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting question for this stage of like the alpha and things as well.
Yeah, So I don't know. To me, the biggest hurdle for me to always get over is not being able to tank. It's something I just like having in my back pocket, ready whenever I want to go run a dungeon.
Yeah, and there's absolutely the temptation to kind of go, well, it's an alt, right? So it should be able to do everything. You know, I wanna pick something that can heal and tank and DPS, and that kind of limits you a little bit in your choices.
Yeah, but my mains have always traditionally been tank classes. So
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something that's difficult for me to get away from. It has been ever since back half of BC when I learned how to tank. It was warrior tanking. Back then it was hard.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand that. I think that's and like I think what I need to do is I need to take advantage of like the 100% leveling at the moment, and I need to level a rogue. I need to level it as subtlety. That's what I should have done with my second rogue. I shouldn't have leveled it as outlaw because I already done
listen
that.
On your
Garrett, like that second rogue was a Kultiran human, and you know he was going to get to max level, and he was going to get his heritage armor, and like that is an outlaw rogue right there.
Right. There's
no way he couldn't have been an outlaw rogue. So like, I mean, what I'm gonna have to do is go back and level a third rogue and do it as subtlety. That's
and listen, I don't want to cast aspersions, but I mean, do Kultirans look like they're sneaky by nature? I mean,
do outlaw rogues have to be sneaky?
No,
how sneaky?
That's why they're outlaw rogues. That's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making is they are not sneaky.
Exactly. And like exactly, your only choice as a Kultiran is to be an outlaw rogue, as far as I'm concerned. His name is Errol. He has a blonde mustache and an eye patch. He's basically awesome, and he wears his Kultiran heritage arm with pride, and he is everything that an outlaw rogue should be. He's perfect. I love him. I'm going to marry him. But the thing is, my original rogue, my undead rogue. She's outlaw as well because it's fun, right? So but I did that before the Kultiran one. So if I had my time again, I'd level her as subtlety. So what I'm gonna have to do is basically remake that character and like level it up as subtlety, so I know what I'm doing.
I just assume all Kultiran rogues, they think stealth is screaming the word stealth as they charge into battle and pull out their gun. Just stealth, and then bam, they shoot a gun. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's as close as they get.
I love that character so much. Yep. He's so great.
Yep, it's some good stuff. Yeah. Well, I'm basically I have reached the end of my list, Taliesin. Was there anything else you had?
I have no more shame.
I have plenty more shame, Taliesin. Just not as much in World of Warcraft. Although did you? I don't think you told us anything that you were ashamed of that you did do.
I, for the longest time, didn't know that when you played Paladin tank and you used your bubble, that you dropped aggro.
Oh, that's a good one.
I used another mitigation cooldown. So I would go into dungeons, leveling my Paladin tank, and I'd be bopping it, and I'd be like, booty, booty, boo. I'd be like, oh, big damage spike coming up. I've used all my other damage mitigation. Time to use my bubble. And the entire group would wipe, because obviously I dropped aggro.
So for the longest time, you didn't know that? Like,
meaning
your entire group wiped and you still didn't put the pieces together?
I think it was like very angrily pointed out to me in like LFR Agrimar, yeah, LFR Agrimar. So in Legion, in Antorus.
I mean,
it was pointed out by the other tank that the reason we kept dying was because I was losing aggro.
I just have more questions.
To survive a mechanic.
I just have more I find it hard to believe that you bopped once and the group wiped and you didn't go, oh hey.
Well, because I was mostly doing like raiding, like pug raiding, just like normal or LFR raiding on that. So I could always just blame everyone else. I could always just be like, stupid other tank didn't pick up aggro. Or like stupid other tank like used taunt or something when they shouldn't have done. Or like it was always like, you know, and also I didn't care.
I was about to say that's not my experience at all in LFR. If
it was perfectly reasonable that I hadn't noticed that, it wouldn't be something I was ashamed of, would it, Garrett?
My experience in LFR is that the tanks are the first ones to get blamed and booted when anything goes wrong, let alone if you Bubbled? Oh my god, I can't believe they didn't string you up outside Stormwind.
We're talking normal pugs here. They're just so glad to have a tank.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. And now, I was trying to think. I was like, I thought
it probably didn't take that long for me to notice, but it feels like it took me a very long time to notice.
Yeah, I think I thought like your shameful thing was going to be like you grief someone in PvP once, but now, dude, you've opened the floodgate. I can immediately think of now one that I was shameful. This is more like a funny one-off because I never did it again, like you should have the first time you bopped as a tank. This is actually ties into the paladin when I was leveling it up. So I was finishing leveling up my paladin, on Horde in the beginning of Wrath of the Lich King. So, but I was raiding Alliance side. This would have been Naxxramas at the beginning of Wrath of the Lich King. So here's what's going on, Taliesin. I'm leveling up a paladin, but I'm raiding on a hunter. Okay. I am one of those weirdos that likes to hit Z to sheath and unsheath my swords, and I also I'll right click on things with melee classes to go into attack stance because it looks cool. It's just one of the things I do. I don't know
about you, audience, but I have no idea where this story's going.
Yeah, definitely not, right? So I'm spending my days gallivanting as a paladin that can right-click on things with impunity because I'm not going to do jack squat until I actually get into melee range. Raid night comes along. Walk into the Hagen room. Raid leader's explaining to the one person that doesn't normally raid with us about how Hagen works. Let's go, all right, I'm just going to right-click on Hagen. Oh, shit, I'm a hunter. Pull Hagen, wipe the raid. Have to explain to everybody, sorry, everybody, been playing my paladin this week. That's it. That's my story, Taliesin.
Ding, 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 ding. I feel like the ding, ding, shame sound effect is one we should have had on the go throughout this entire episode.
Yes.
Shame.
Should have. Shame none should have been all over this episode.
I'm embarrassed for you right now.
Yep, it was good.
I'm embarrassed for you, but more than that, I'm embarrassed to know you.
You reminded me of another one. You're reminding me of another one, which like it just goes completely around, which was like a holdover from being just terrible and also broke in vanilla was in BC taking my hunter to, I think it was Zul'Aman? That was a 10-man in BC, yeah? Anyway, in there, they're like, all right, Garrett, trank shot. And I go, I didn't buy it. That's how far I got without trank shot. And then I hearth, go to my trainer, I go, oh, I did buy it. It's just not on my bar. Because there was a time where I wasn't buying stuff because I was so broke. I wasn't buying talents. And so I just assumed I didn't have it, but I did, and it just wasn't on my bars. And that's how far I got in raiding before I had to trank shot something on my hunter.
Okay, that is another shame I've got. I do have a genuine shame, actually, because I do play every class, and I do play every spec in the game. But obviously, I can't play them all to like a regular level, you know? Like, it would be impossible. What a big shame that I have is my poultry pet collection for my hunter. Like my poultry pet collection. I'm embarrassed by my bad pet collection for my hunter. Like, you know, if someone's like, hey, can you bring up a battle res pet for this one? I'm like, no. No, I haven't got one of those. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, can you bring up this pet? And I'm like, no.
Nope.
No, I've got a stag. Do you like stags?
Because it looks cool. Because that's the animal I like.
Got one of them purple cats from Suramar. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, now you're reminded that all these things are rushing back of, you don't have trank shot? How do you not have trank shot? Well, I was broke. All right, you dumbass, go get trank shot. And then realizing, oh, no, I had it all along. Just literally have never used it until this exact point.
Oh, man.
God, what was that? The Lynx boss, I think, that you need the trank shot. Oh, those were the days. I was absolutely living up to the worst hunter reputations until probably that was probably when I finally started getting my shit together because I was so ashamed. And the guild just from that point on, it was until I left the guild, an in-joke of, hey, you got a trank shot? Like, it was just, it never ended from that point on. It just followed me into perpetuity. And it was with the guy that taught me how to tank, and I still talk to him every now and then, and it's still a joke. It's still a joke, Taliesin. So,
Shame.
All right. I've officially exhausted shameful WoW memories that can actually come to mind.
Shameful memories are like, I'll remember loads more as soon as we end this episode. So we might have to revisit. And when I say remember, what I mean is wake up in the night in a cold sweat. Remember it.
I have trank shot, I swear.
Yeah. We might have to revisit this topic in the future and come back to it.
Yep.
Might have to do that.
Yep. Well, folks, if you'd like to be a part of the show and help us fill out our mailbag episodes when we do them, we have an email set up. It is wowkillercast@gmail.com. You can also follow the show on Twitter @wowkillercast. And Taliesin, if folks are somehow unaware of where they can find your fine WoW content outside of this podcast, where can they do so?
They can Google it. We're easy to find.
Taliesin and Evitel. May not be easy to spell, but it's easy to find.
Like, you know what? Every episode, I tell people where they can find us. You know, this week, put some work in. Find out yourselves.
Put some work in, like we didn't do for most of the shames on today's episode.
It's easy. Like, you know how the internet works. Find, like, if you're listening to this show, you're like, I'd really like to find out where Taliesin and Evitel, where I can see their stuff. You know how to find out.
There it is.
Don't pretend like you need to tell me. You're a big boy now. Work it out yourself.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Crawl into me.
I got rather cheeky with some folks on the VOD for Into the Nexus this week because we switched over to like an AMove 2 channel because we're doing like clips on AMove 1 now. And they're like, oh, it took me forever to find this. I had to do a lot of research. I'm like, I've literally been promoting AMove TV on every episode forever, and the links are updated. So I got a little cheeky in the comments. I was like, you shouldn't have had to research that hard.
I'm glad. I feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe some Taliesin is rubbing off on you.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you always wrap it in the guise of a rather clever joke, and I was just aggressive. I was like, it's not that hard, dummy. Like, it's kind of where I took it, but also, I think we're all a little on edge right now. So,
I know. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's a little crabbier than usual, I think, at best right now. So, anyways, folks, you can find this show and all of the others like it that I produce over at AMove.tv, so go check that out. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to Andrew Allen for our intro and outro music. You should go check out his lovely, lovely work over at andrewallenmusic.com. And that's going to do it for this episode. I look forward to reading your emails, assembling our next mailbag, and also, who knows what the next topic will be, because it's certainly not the host of this show. But until next time, good luck and have fun, everyone. Oh, that was fun.
That was fun.
I needed that.
Yeah, we needed that little outpouring of grief and shame. I think that's very important.
How did I not go grab a shame clip?
I know, we did not.
I
know, Garrett, because we decided on that topic 5 minutes before the show started. That's why. We let all our secret. That was a secret. No one would have guessed that unless they stuck around for the after show.
Nope.
Fact.
No, they wouldn't have.
Fact.
No, they wouldn't have. Well,
I'm not going to be doing a stream today, guys. I've got a script that I need to do some work on, and if I don't do the work on it today, it'll never get done. So there won't be a Wednesday stream on the T&E Twitch channel, I'm afraid.
There will.
So I'm glad that you guys were here for some streaming action. But I promise, if I get my video and my script done, that there will be a Thursday stream, because I've got a feeling we'll probably have an alpha build that we need to test out a little bit. So
there will be an Angry Chicken later today at 5:30 Eastern time. So you can look forward to that. Really don't know what we're going to do, because there's been jack all in Hearthstone for about 3 weeks now. We're kind of at peak no news. Doesn't surprise me that there's no news this week, but I think we're going to look at take a deep look at their roadmap, because we never really had time to take a look at it, and I think now we do. So that's what we'll get to. So you can join me here, and you can see Taliesin tomorrow when he gets his work done.
I'll look forward to that.
Thanks for hanging,
having
everybody.
the stream.
Twitch chat, really, today I had to stifle multiple laughs. Y'all were on point. So thanks for brightening my day. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you later.